You're listening to the Millennial Minute Podcast, giving this generation what they want to hear.
What is up, everybody? This is your boy Rod coming to y'all with another episode of the Millennial Minute. We are coming to you live from Zoom because COVID-19 is still a real thing and we've been locked up for way too long. So let's go around the horn and introduce who we got here today. We got our boy all the way out in Chino Hills celebrating that Lakers win with the purple do-rag. Speaks.
Yeah. Hashtag not a Clipper fan. Hashtag Clippers are trash. Hashtag Kawhi trash. Hashtag
Lisa's up.
Way off P. Trash. Way off. And yeah, I'm on the cloud nine right now.
That's a beautiful intro. We got our boy all the way out in DC with the full beard, looking sexy. Chib, say what up to the people.
What's happening, y'all? What's happening?
Deep, sultry voice. And we got our boy all the way out in AZ, the fitness guru of the pod. You love to see it. Shout out to Alif Alam. Say what's up to the people.
Hi, folks.
And we are unfortunately / fortunately missing T today. She wasn't able to. We're going to have an extra toxic pod. You already know what it is.
We're going to call it the masculine minute.
Yes.
Whoops, did I just zoom out of here?
You are still here.
I'm still here. Sorry, that connection was trash. But yes, toxic pod today since T is not here. And before we get into our topic of today, let's get paid. So we first want to shout out to Productive Culture. So if you're looking for production, mixing, sound design, or just looking to start your own podcast, you need to hit up Productive Culture ASAP. They've hooked us up and they helped us take our podcast to a whole nother level. And we're on a new level. And they can honestly do the same for you. So if you've been thinking about starting your rap career or your podcast, stop thinking about it and hit up Productive Culture at productiveculture.com/podcast. And you can also find them on Instagram at Productive Culture. So productiveculture.com/podcast. Tell them the Millennial Minute sent you and you're going to get hooked up. And we also got to give a big shout out to 3-Bit Games over in Pomona, California. If you're into video games, comic books, 3-Bit Games is a spot that y'all need to hit up ASAP. Stop playing.
Shout out to 3-Bit.
I love the ad-libs. They buy, sell, and trade all games, consoles, Funko Pops, comics, figures, and trading cards. So it's honestly just a one-stop shop for all your gaming and collecting needs. They are open and ready for business at 1600 East Hole Avenue, Space K24 in Pomona, California. And you can also find them on Instagram at 3-Bit Games. And last I checked, they even have their own website up and running now, right? So you can go support Black businesses, hit up 3-Bit Games. You're going to love it. We guarantee it.
Shut up.
Hey, Speaks, Leaf. I don't know about me, but it sounded like the ad reads were a lot better last week when Rob wasn't here.
I heard the slander on my name last week. I heard it and I hated to see it. But now that I'm back, our listens are going to go through the roof now that I'm back. So we got a really good topic for you guys today. We think that it's pretty relevant. You've been seeing ads on TV, magazines, social media, telling us how important it is in this year's election to vote. So our question of the day and what we're really going to be discussing is it that important, and does our vote matter? Do we feel like our votes matter? Especially in this electoral college and this very, I guess, heated election that we're going to have. You got two powerhouses, Biden and Trump. So, Chibs, you should be the one to take us into our Millennial Minute. You can play T's role.
Yeah.
And get paid 3 times for it.
Actually, I do the opposite. All right, G. This is how it's going to go down.
Listen up, fam.
All right. So pretty much topic is does your vote count? We got 1 minute to lay it down. Y'all ready? And we'll start with Ross Speaks, Leaf, then your boy's going to be last. Ready?
All right. I'm going to take the controversial stance on this topic, and I'm going to say that it does not matter. Speaks.
I don't know how controversial that is because I was gonna say I don't think it necessarily matters that much either. But
Sheesh.
yeah,
Okay, Alif.
I was gonna say that I think it totally depends on which election that you're voting in.
oh,
The 2021 Chibs.
No, okay.
Well, we're going to get into it, Chibs.
You know what? I'm gonna make this conversation a little interesting, and we'll say it does matter.
Okay.
oh damn!
Ooh, we love to see it. How many? Do we still have time left? How much time is left
Yeah,
on
so
the
we got
clock?
20 more seconds.
20 more seconds. Okay, someone takes T perspective. Alif, Chibs, imitate T.
I got it.
Okay, speak.
I don't know, guys. Just stop fighting. Oh my god.
I got it. Guys, I'm not really too familiar with politics, so I'm just gonna go.
My chocolates.
I'm
My
here.
chocolates want to do it.
Chocolates. All right, 3, 2, 1. Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do it?
Hey, gang.
There it is.
Okay. Sorry for being sexist and completely flaming tea right now on the podcast. So I wanna start off with the Leaf first because we kind of cut him off because we thought we were short. You were saying it depends on the election. What do you mean by that? Elaborate.
Like I meant like there's a difference between voting in the presidential election and like the local election for like a proposition or your congressman or woman.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that those votes matter more?
I think they're important. I'm not saying one is more important than the other. I just think like they just function differently.
So I want to throw a hypothetical at you real quick. So if you were only able to vote for your local elections or vote for who would be the president and your vote mattered equally as much, which one would you go for?
Ooh.
My vote mattered equally as much.
Yeah. Let's say no electoral college, one vote equals one vote on both sides. Which one would you vote for? Which one would you put more important towards?
I still say both, honestly, because
No, you only have one
gotta
vote.
pick
You have
one.
one vote. You got to pick one. You can only vote for one. It's a
oh,
hypothetical.
hypothetical. I guess. Man, I'm on the spot. Having no time to think about this. I'd
Putting
say
the pressure on.
presidential.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, presidential. Brian, I saw that you wanted to jump in. Give us some of your insight into what Alif was saying.
Oh, well, no, it wasn't that I wanted to jump in. I was just like, I was just kind of listening to what he was saying. It wasn't really in a need to jump in. But as far as like if I wanted to pick to answer the question, I guess you could say, I would probably, man, it's so like, because like in this current election, I would say that like I would put more emphasis on like wanting to vote for the president for sure, just because of who's currently like in power. But as of right now, I feel like on the state level, at least our governor, shout out Gavin Newsom, he's been handling some.
Newsom, sponsor the pod.
Yeah,
Newsom, sponsor the pod.
He's been handling things pretty like appropriately, you know, like I think anyway. Like maybe some people don't feel it if you're maybe a business owner.
I feel like that's the highest compliment at this moment. The way political climate, he's handling things appropriately. Every
like I mean, just
way to go, Newsom. Newsom handled COVID appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, like he's been taking it pretty seriously. He's been calling out the people that, you know, the hot areas for COVID, I guess you could say, especially living here near Orange County. You know, so I feel like on a state level, like I feel like, you know, he's been conducting himself like a politician should. So like, there's no need to really vote on the state level if I feel like the person is handling their business correctly. However, on the opposite token, President Trump has not been handling things appropriately in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, those are some interesting takes. Chibs, what do you think? You said that your vote does matter. Why do you feel like it matters? And what would be your pitch maybe to us to say, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I just wanted to just briefly touch upon what Leaf said, or maybe expand upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, it does kind of matter what election, because people always say, like, yeah, presidential elections are important, but you can't forget to vote for your local elections because those are just as important. And not even just like within our house. You also got to think about like your local, like, state legislator, or even like your freaking educational board in your city. You know, like all those votes count. You
Yeah.
know, in the way that you view your life. Of course, when you think the higher it goes, you know, when you go from like voting for your mayor versus voting for your president, you kind of feel like it gets lost in the mix,
Yep.
you know. But yeah, but I do think, you know, that in the end they do count. But I can see why a lot of people does lose this faith. I mean, shit. 2016 is like the prime example of how nothing works the way it's supposed to work, which is funny because it actually worked exactly as it's supposed to work according to the rules because the system itself is broken.
Yeah.
I can go on, but when you lose after winning by 3 million votes, it's kind of just like what are we doing here? You know,
Electoral college. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of commentary about that, like post the first election, because it seems like whenever whoever the losing side is, always wants to remove the electoral college.
So,
Like if the Democrats win, the Republicans want to like exile that.
I also kind of feel like a lot of the people have an opinion on how the system works, or like how the system like is good or bad, but they don't have an idea of how the system works actually.
Well, I
I
feel
mean,
like that might.
it should be straightforward, to be honest. Like, it should be like, can you imagine being in a basketball game and you still like the Lakers win by 10, and refs come in like, oh yeah, but me and the refs we thought about it and we're like, yo, like there's a better team, so you lost.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like.
But to be fair, wasn't the system that we're living by also written like hundreds of years ago? Like, has the system been updated? I'm not saying it has, but I'm just asking a question to anybody that knows. Because with sports, like the rules and the regulations always change. So there may be a rule that like 50 years from now, we're like, that was kind of a dumb rule. Why don't we change it? Why don't we alter it? So like Chibs or Leaf, like has the system been changed since, I don't know, 1872?
Which system are you talking about?
I mean,
We're talking about like voting.
The voting
Yeah.
system.
Like voting in like local elections or presidential elections?
I guess
Let's
right
say
now,
voting in general.
right now, since we're focusing on the electoral college, I think we're talking about presidential votes, especially in this current climate.
Okay. All right. Presidential.
Yeah, well, sort of. So, I mean, I guess when the Electoral College was invented, it was under the assumption that like the American people are fucking stupid, and they don't know why they're voting or who they're voting for.
Yeah.
And so we need these other people who actually know what they're doing to vote for the actual president. That's kind of like the creation of the Electoral College. But nowadays, now it's like set by law, but not across all states. But like I think like 30 states, it's like by law you have to vote for the president that the people voted for. But there's 20 other states where, you know, all the votes can be for one person and be like, nah, I'm going for the other person.
Yeah. Alif, what were you saying?
I was going to say that that the electoral college is a federal thing, but how each state is able to choose its own electors, and each state has their own individual process of choosing their electors.
Okay.
Those I'm sure those are changed constantly, updated. So depending on what state you're in.
You said you're sure that they're probably changed, but do you know for a fact that they have been changed?
Like depending on the state.
Okay, so quick question. I have a question regarding the Electoral College. So I've heard before that the Electoral Colleges protect smaller states, because if we were to go on a system that's just based on votes, like solely votes, population votes, that those smaller states like the Midwest like wouldn't be represented, because California, New York, their populations are so dense, and a majority of them vote blue. You know, like we live in California, they vote blue. So a reason why, you know, I feel like my vote in California doesn't matter is because I'm not in a swing state. Joe Biden's going to win California, whether I vote or not. Joe Biden will win California. So I don't know if you guys have like an answer to that, or can tell me I'm wrong, and maybe I'm not looking at it the right way. But
I think that's true.
let me know. Whoever wants to go first.
I think it's based on popular vote, like bigger states like California, or bigger cities, like big cities like San Francisco, LA, New York, even the big cities in the South like Atlanta and like Houston, Dallas, those are like becoming more increasingly progressive. They would like dictate the outcome of the election.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll also say that, like, we've already discussed it, but presidential elections are tricky because of the electoral college and other factors. But I would say what you gotta pay attention to is the Senate. And like I feel like not enough people like pay close enough attention to the Senate. And like in my opinion, I feel like, well, I guess it's all about where you put the emphasis on. But the Senate also has like a lot of power that people don't really notice until it's too late, or until it becomes a big deal.
Yep.
Like the biggest, like for instance, this whole court thing. No, Ruth Ginsburg.
Gatesburg or something.
Yeah, RGB. Rest in
RBG.
peace. RBG.
Yeah,
rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Yeah, she passed away, and like, so a seat's now open, and the person and the people who like can replace it is essentially the Senate, you know, and the court is a lifetime appointment. Like once they're there until they die, or until they choose to leave. And so like, so when you think about like who's more important, the president who's like out here seeing if they want to build a wall or not, or someone who's putting someone in for the next 30 years into a position of power, you know, so it's kind of just like,
aren't justices elected by appointment by the president with their approval?
They are. However,
they're appointed by the president, and then they're confirmed by the Senate.
Yeah. So, however, the Senate, and this is what's been causing such a big controversy, and I guess it's kind of like not a good way, but like it's showing that the U.S., because there's a lot of inner working parts within the U.S., like the Senate, President, and Supreme Court, how everything is kind of affected by each individual person. Because like when Obama was in president and it was in an election year, didn't Senator Mitch McConnell or whatever like filibuster or like postpone him being able to appoint a Supreme Court judge? So
exactly,
about
the Senate.
And Trump just put the new Supreme Court judge in there, right?
Is it official? Or
I don't know if it's official.
He pretty much put a recommendation in, and now Senate's going to vote on it. I mean, Senate's in power. They can do. The only reason the Senate could filibuster back in 2016 was because they were in power. The Senate Republicans, they're still in power, so now they can just like fast forward it. Yeah.
Damn, they can just speed that through.
Yeah. So but
NASCAR's
you're also
roaming through there.
But a lot of people are paying attention to it now because they're not holding the same standard. Before they blocked Obama from doing it, and there's a lot of controversy as to whether or not it should be, you know, because they called for the same thing last year. So I don't know if that's why I said I don't know if it's been confirmed, because I know a lot of people are paying attention to it now. So it's not like somebody can just sweep that by. So I don't know if there's much that they can do. However, this president has been.
Well, I want to get into that. So on our story on Instagram, if you saw it today, if you're just listening to this now, this was last week, we put up a story that said, do you think that your vote counts? 67% of you said yes, 33% of you said no. That 33% is actually a lot higher than I thought it would be, but kind of an interesting take. So kind of wrapping back around to what Speaks was saying about Trump 2016, what the hell happened? How did this happen?
Yes.
I've been seeing a lot of rhetoric on the liberal side that's been saying, vote for Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden. Doesn't matter what you do, just vote for Joe Biden. And there's even Instagram pages that are like, settle for Biden. Like, we don't even want Biden, but we will settle for him. AOC, I believe she was on Instagram Live, or she had recorded a story where she had said voting for Joe Biden is not whether you agree with him or not. and that was like one of the quotables in that. But she had said that it was that it may determine survival. That if we didn't vote for Biden, then it would determine our survival. To me, listening to that, it doesn't make much sense, because if I don't agree with the guy, why am I going to vote for him? So I kind of wanted to get your guys' take. Should you vote for the person that you hate the least? Or should you just say, you know what, I'm just not going to vote? What is the best way to kind of go about that, in your opinion? We can start with Speaks and then go to Chibs and go to Alif.
I think that it is an extreme disservice, especially as a person of color, knowing the history and the struggle that's gone to putting into vote. It's not, you can't just, I'm not going to vote. Unfortunately, just with any election, there's going to be both sides. There's going to be two sides. Well, not two sides. There's definitely more than two sides. However, in the way that we conduct government in this country, there's usually it's a two-party race.
It's a powerhouse. And Harambe. Don't forget Harambe, 2016.
And Harambe. Yes, that's another topic for another day. So you can't just say don't vote, or I don't like any of these candidates, don't vote, because that's exactly how people in power like Donald Trump probably shouldn't have been elected. And so I think it's just, you have to do your civic duty, which is to vote. You have that right. It is, it is a right. It's something that should be there. It's something that should be done. But I don't necessarily think about it as settling. We always settle. I don't think that there's ever going to be a perfect candidate. There's never a perfect candidate. There's never this person checks every single box that I want. If you do enough digging,
right.
There's always going to be a negative side to them at some point. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Chips.
Yeah, I mean, I always think about this, like, back in the 2016 election, how many like people straight up said they weren't going to vote, and I do feel like I wasn't like a Hillary stan, but at the same time, if you I was like paying attention sort of at the time. I think I'm a lot more aware now, but if you kind of notice, people were going to like vote their party, but it wasn't until like the smear campaign came out for Hillary, and then like it stuck with everybody, and I feel like
Benghazi.
No,
Hillary and Benghazi.
It wasn't even that. I feel the Benghazi thing was just kind of, people brought it up. People like kind of like live with it in the same way that Biden does all this shit. Now, like if you give it time, it's like, okay, that's just the way Biden is.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Hillary is. It was the emails,
Yeah.
The emails. It was the big new thing, and I feel like it was enough to dissuade people from going to the polls. I feel like that's enough, because it wasn't like Trump was going to be like, oh, don't vote for Hillary, vote for me. He was just like, hey, don't vote for Hillary or don't vote, So I mean, like, so y'all would vote for me, but don't vote for her either. And a lot of people that we know, we're just like, yeah, right, I'm not going to vote because, and like everyone thought like, oh yeah, she's going to win anyways.
Exactly, because
so I mean, so that's kind of like what happened. It was just kind of like everyone got real lax, and even though she was ahead by 3 million votes, she still lost.
Yeah.
So
Trump got those swing states, man.
To the point when you say this like, oh, I don't need to vote, I don't gotta vote. Well, I guess your options is either you vote or you get 4 more years of Trump, because it's either like not voting is the same as voting for Trump.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Alif?
I think what I want to point out was like a lot of people have the right to be frustrated with the system because it's not a perfect system, like, first of all. But I think like a lot of things can be answered by taking the time to understand the system and how it works, the intricacies of it.
Okay. All right. The question was no. I appreciate that input, though. I was just giving you a hard time. So do you think that going out to the polls and voting, like, do they truly matter? Or if you just say, I don't like Biden, I don't like Trump, I'm just not going to vote, that's an okay response to have?
I think that's just voting is a personal right. So what you decide to do is your volition right there. But me personally, I think it's still important to vote, because that's just your way of putting your voice out there. Yeah, you may not like 100% agree. Just because I vote for a certain candidate does not mean I entirely support what they say. It's just like some of the things that they do support resonates with me, and I think that has some sort that has power in itself.
Yeah,
Although
for sure. Chips.
I will also say that sometimes not voting is a form of speech. You know,
Yeah.
not voting can also be a form as a statement. You know, which I feel like a lot of that's kind of like what happened. I feel a lot like the Bernie people. So I'm just like, well, you know, this is the candidate, and now we have they both suck. So like, I'm just saying, just like, I'm standing my ground and saying like, I do not support either of those people, and that's like completely understandable. But I feel like now, in my opinion, the stakes are a little too high for that kind of complacency.
Okay. And the listeners, Chib, Speaks, Alif, don't forget, if you don't vote for Joe, you ain't black. So make sure you put in that vote for Joe, or your melanin levels will slowly start to decrease over the span of 4 years.
See this? You see this? This is what's gonna happen to you. Boom.
For those that are listening, Brian showed us the back of his hand and then flipped it to his palm.
That was Brian's eyes.
It speaks.
Brian's eyes like turn to colored eyes and shit like that.
Brian got
You're gonna see
very
Biden's
fair skin as soon as he did
you're gonna
not.
see Biden snap his fingers, and then you're gonna see like the melanin fly up your skin the way that like Thanos did. All of a sudden you're like, ah.
All the black people turn white. No, I told y'all, didn't vote for me. So this election, Brian, did you want to ask a question? My fault. We spoke at the same time.
It's okay. Hold on.
Damn, you cut me off just to not be ready.
But
my bad.
I think in this climate, I don't think it's like, because I feel like we're starting to. This is becoming more and more of a topic because I think within the last I think they said 20 years, so that's 5 elections. 5 elections, so that's 40%. So 40% of the elections within the past 20 years or so, the popular vote has not been what's happened. Like the popular vote is not the same or consistent with the electoral college vote. So I think that's why we're starting more and more to come to this, situation where maybe it is time to start assessing whether or not this is an outdated thing. I know.
I think
it's 100% an outdated thing, and I feel like it's only like I think what Rod said earlier is that it's to protect smaller states because so they have like more power. Why should the smaller states have more power? Like not to bash on like Montana or whatever, but like you have less people. The popular vote is supposed to be representative of the people, and if more people want themselves represented, then that's like what it is. It's kind of like if 1 million people want, I don't know, this candidate because they say they're going to give better health care, but then these like 500,000 people in this other state kind of just like, well, we want the other thing. Well, who kind of matters more? The million people, because there's more of them. So it's just like
Black Lives Matter more.
That's what makes sense.
That is true.
So now I have this weird skewed system where they want to hold on to like the minuscule power that they have. That's what it is. It's just kind of just like power grabbing, like in what they can, and especially like this country in itself is swinging more like liberal. I know it seems like it's the opposite, just because like the other side is shouting really, really loud, and then like with Trump, he had kind of like a megaphone and whatnot, along with Fox News. But in general, the population as like a whole is swinging like towards more liberal ideas. And so like they're trying to find, so like the other side is trying to find more and more ways to hold on to power, and like this is just one of their tactics.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of crazy how it seems like before in our history everyone's been either a Democrat, a Republican, but a lot of us actually met on the middle of a lot of issues. And I think now in the social media age, you're seeing like black and white. You're either red or you're blue. If you're on blue, you don't like red. If you're on red, you don't like blue. And that's just kind of the way these things have been going. So even if you don't like Biden, if you think that he's terrible, if you don't vote for Biden, then it's like you're automatically like on Trump's side. And I don't know, it's just been like a polarizing election. And it's kind of crazy to see like this transformation throughout the years, because even people who didn't 100% like Obama or disagreed with Obama maybe still voted for him because they agreed with more of what he said versus what Romney said.
Or McCain.
You know? Or McCain. Yeah, exactly. But now we're just seeing like this, like you're either this or you're that. Like it's like so radical. Like now when you're talking about, it's just radical left, radical right.
Well, I think it's because there's like, because somebody, well, I think the reason why it's more and more radical is because when we elected Trump, he gave a voice to a more radical side, you know. I don't think like under Obama, and I think under a lot like presidents, like people that have been Republican, I don't think you've seen nearly as much within like the past like few years, like compared to now versus back then. So much outward cries of racism and blatant signs of like racism, you know?
Well, because racism was over once Obama got elected, obviously.
Okay, yes, you're right. I am so sorry. Obama.
I voted for Obama.
Yeah, Obama was definitely the signal of just racism ending. But I think it was like, you know, people were more in the closet about their racism. You know, they were more conspicuous about it. And Trump gave those people like, yeah, hell yeah, this is America. We need to go back and make America great again. Make America.
No, I'm voting for actually QAnon. That's where my vote's going.
Huh?
QAnon.
Wait, I can't.
Oh my God, we can't get in this.
QAnon.
Jeez. We're gonna get into a deep dark web right now, deep dark hole.
Okay, well let's not. But yeah, I think it's like that's one of the reasons why this has been such a more polarizing thing, because
Go ahead. Sorry, I had a question.
In support if you're supporting Trump, due to every type of person that he has definitely 100% offended, it's not like if you're not a white male, then how do I want to say this? He has offended everybody that's not a white male. There you go.
I mean, I wouldn't say that because you have Latinos for Trump. Like,
well, he's offended them. He's just like, but he was like, we'll take it. Like,
he's polling higher with Latino voters right now than Biden is. Like it's insane. It's insane.
I will say, I saw a similar poll, and I think that's mainly in Florida, because Florida has some strange politics going on in there.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't think it's like all Latinos everywhere. Like obviously not California Latinos, but California, like Latinos in different areas, he polls really high with them.
Yeah, I feel like it's the older generation ones that are like this is just an assumption, but like religion.
Yeah,
no, actually, it's not so much religion in my opinion. I think it's more like communism, because people they think say Biden's gonna bring back communism, socialism is communism.
Yeah. When have we ever had?
You know, I mean, like the Cubans like communists, Fidel.
Yeah,
and then like
PTSD.
No, exactly. I mean, like Venezuela, you know, people who are like Venezuelan refugees, so they think like, oh, Biden is just another socialist and going to bring all that shit back to America. Like, no.
Yeah.
Until they're voting for Trump.
Also,
I think
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I think for a lot of Trump supporters, they like things moved way too fast. Like I feel like they were like in this car that went from 0 to 100, and they like still want to retain like those good old like Chevrolet American values, 4th of July,
the 1950s picket fence.
Yeah, man.
Home.
Like because think about it, we lived in a time. Like, just think about how we've progressed, like Obama era, and this is just terms of not even so much politics, but just liberal ideas from maybe like 2008,
yeah,
up until 2016. Like we just in terms of like what was okay, what was politically correct, incorrect, like how we view people, like all of those things just changed. And I think what you saw Trump spoke to people that was like, hey, this isn't America. This isn't our good old tradition values, and those people like really resonated with it, man. And it's crazy to see that, like, you know, maybe I think there's like a fine line somewhere in the middle that we can meet. But we're gonna
Yeah,
see what happens in November, man.
I got a question for you guys.
Yo.
All right. So where do you guys think there's a flaw in this? I'm gonna just make a statement. When citizens go to the polls to elect a president, they're in fact voting for a particular slate of electors. In every state but Maine and Nebraska, the candidate who wins the most votes, that is a plurality in the state, receives all the state's electoral votes.
Wait, repeat that?
Yeah.
Like
I said.
Yeah,
quick-
layman's terms.
Spark note that because it was
So basically when you go vote, right?
yeah.
A state a president gets the electoral votes based on. So when you go vote, you're voting for an elector to go vote for president.
Okay.
So it's like if you're voting for a blue candidate, you're voting for essentially a blue elector who in turn takes that and votes for that president.
Mhm.
So,
Which I was saying before.
so basically the popular vote in that state wins all the electoral votes.
Isn't
for
that what
that
happens?
president.
But isn't that what happens now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, what are your guys' thoughts and the flaws? What are the flaws in that system?
I think that oh, go ahead, Chip.
I mean, it's short and sweet. The elected can change their mind. In some states, they can just be like, no. That's first of all. It's not universal where the person that got the most votes for that electorate does not have to vote the way the popular vote goes if they don't want to. In some states it is law, and in other states it's not.
Damn. So yeah, that's like not okay.
and also just because like you said, it's kind of like it's one electorate for a certain amount. So like I said before, 1 million persons can be for one electorate, while 25,000 can also be one electorate. So like obviously,
it says right here that the popular vote in that state wins all the electoral votes for that president.
That's current, right? Like that's currently what happens.
Yeah.
Well,
so like for example, like if Texas in some universe, if the popularity of Texas voted for Biden, then all the electoral votes in Texas will go to Biden.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's an obvious discrepancy just because, like in 2016, if that was the case, then Hillary should have won. But there's some type of discrepancy because when all the popular votes was in, she lost, even though she got more.
So what? Yeah, she probably lost the swing. I think she lost the swing states.
Yeah, she did.
That's usually how
she lost the swing states.
Yeah. Okay. Well, really quick before we wrap it up, I want to ask y'all one last question, rapid fire round. Are y'all ready for this? And nobody can slide out of this. You have to answer this question. All right, y'all ready? What is the number you would have to get paid in cash pre-tax to be at a Trump rally in the back on TV wearing a MAGA hat? We'll start with Speaks. And it has to be reasonable. Don't say like $50 billion. Reasonable amount.
A reasonable amount to be at a Trump rally?
Yeah. Okay, let's say this. Okay. Trump's people offer you $750K cash. You have to wear a MAGA hat, yes, and wearing a MAGA hat and like holding up a flag.
Make it $1 million.
And
no, 750. 750K.
You're on camera.
Yeah, you're on camera. 750K Speaks. Cash, untaxed. Untaxed.
Ooh. I'd have to take it.
All right, we got one yes. Chips.
I'd have to take it. 750K, dude, untaxed.
700. Come on, 750.
Is that enough for me to move? So I not be seen and be somewhere like
yes.
You
can move to Texas and be protected. 750K.
I was.
Oh boy. 750K.
Yes or no, Chibs? Come on.
Damn. I'm going to skip my eyes on this one. I'm not going to sell out. Nah.
Okay, Chip said he won't sell out. All right, a leaf, 700.
I have more money than that.
Okay, 750K, regardless of the money, the dollar amount. Me as a person, I like to piss people off. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I just like to stir the pot. So yeah, I'd fucking do it.
A leaf would do it for free.
Just to piss you guys off. Just to piss off some of my other friends, I'd do it.
A leaf's like, look at my MAGA hat right now.
What about you, Rod? Would you do it?
Yes. I would do it. If they offered me something, they wouldn't have to say anything else. I'm going to be shucking and jiving at the Trump rally for 750K. I will hold a bucket of KFC and eat tacos if they need me to. I don't care. 750K, y'all can be mad at me. I would not care.
Would you do it for, what's the lowest amount that you do it for?
Maybe $500,000. Maybe 500, maybe 500. But honestly, bro, if they brought you even 25K cash, you'd hard consider it.
No, I wouldn't.
If you not for 25K cash, they give you a briefcase.
No, because if they were willing to throw that out, I know they'd go higher.
Of course, you would negotiate from there, but
I would absolutely not, because 25K, while that is you can do some things with that.
It's not going to be what you need to do.
It's not going to
be able to buy a house in Cali,
especially in California. That could be.
That's what I'm trying to say. I need more money because I need to change my identity. I need to get cash.
All right.
750,000 untaxed.
Nice.
That's going.
That's nice.
You can do some things with that.
100%.
That you can.
I'm going
to need I need an ad campaign for myself. Constantly for the next couple of years, just to defend, just to divert people away. So they're no, I'm actually, at one time, and
yeah.
So I need that money because it lasts for a while.
You can make some investments on that and try to be a little bit more productive. Get you some property somewhere as a down payment somewhere. You can do some things. With that, with 750,000, 25,000, you can't do much. You can 25,000.
No, I'll let it be known on the pod. I love 75,000 or 750 grand more than I hate Trump. I'll just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I love 750 cash way more than I hate Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Chips?
What was the lowest amount that you would do?
999.
Lowest amount?
Yeah, lowest amount. Did you do it for $1 million?
Yeah, I do for $1 million. Yeah. So I feel like that 750, that would be my low. That would be the lowest amount I would do.
You wouldn't even do it for 500,000?
How much that? Maybe, yeah. I can buy a decent home.
Okay,
what I'm thinking right now, I need to move immediately. So I need that
Move to Texas. You will be protected.
What about? Okay, let's do it. Let's do this. 120,000. 120,000, no?
150, we'd have a deal at that.
No, 120,000. Untaxed.
No, they could pay another guy probably much less than that. I'd probably take it too. 120, I'd maybe take it.
120,000. What about you, Alif? Well, you would do it.
Alif would do it for $5. You buy lunch.
All right.
You don't even have to pay me. I just want to piss you guys. off.
How about 80,000?
Oh, now you're going too low. I know Trump's got more than 80. I'd have to.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying 80,000. If somebody came in and offered it to you right now,
that's not even paying off the school loans.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Yeah, I don't even know what makes you guys think you have a buying power to negotiate in the first place.
I have melanin. That's my buying power.
Wait, what the hell? It's a hypothetical. All right. What the hell?
My melanin is my negotiation.
For real.
But in any case, that's something we gotta wrap things up here.
Yeah. So thank you guys again for listening. We support you guys, or we appreciate. Not we support you. We support you guys too. But we appreciate y'all supporting us and listening to us on a weekly basis. Don't forget to sponsor the pod, sponsor the Patreon, Biden or Trump. If y'all need us behind your rallies, we will go hit up our Patreon and drop some donations.
And What was the thing that we said with large monetary.
Large monetary apologies.
Yes.
Immediately. We need those. So thank you guys again for listening. Remember to go out and vote, whether you agree it counts or not. Educate yourself and vote. We hope that we were able to offer some very useful insight to y'all. So any last words before we say peace out, guys?
Hashtag go Lakers, hashtag Clippers suck, hashtag Clippers trash, hashtag move Clippers, hashtag Clipless, hashtag.
Okay. Chibs, Alif.
Vote. Go out and vote.
Yes, go out and vote, Alif.
Hashtag more than a vote.
Yes.
Thank you for coming to my podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Peace out, guys. We'll see y'all next week or hear y'all next week.